Hey guys, as you come in, tap the screen, do all the good things. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I get YouTube started, and you know how that goes for me. So let's choose TikTok, and let's go. CrystalJae, and I should be live. Now we want to choose on OBS, TikTok. No, I literally said this. Alright, let's start streaming over to the YouTube. I think that's all set up. Hello, Ty here. Anybody who wants to come up this morning, look, I got a little mascara into my eye and I can't get rid of it. Oh, my makeup crew. What am I gonna do with them? Hey, JD Raiders, welcome in, welcome in. Come on in. Sit right down. Oh, why can't I get that little? Oh, it's on my glasses. I kept trying to wipe it off my eye, and it was on my glasses the whole time. That's kind of funny. That's somebody, like, something that somebody who gets elevated would do. Just saying. So, who's coming up today to join me for Bible study? We're in Exodus chapter 21. We accidentally did Exodus chapter 20 twice. But I'm glad we did, because I learned some things the second time around that I didn't learn the first time around that we did it. I gotta share out the live, I guess, because I don't see any of my peeps here yet. Alright. Hey, there's Dagda! Yay!
Good morning.
Oh, you know what? I just realized I can't hear this in my headphones. Thank you so much for achieving my goal. Now
Good.
I can hear this. How are you today, Dagda?
Gotta come in and make the noise, eh? Let me introduce myself.
I love it though, because I didn't have it in my headphones, but I could hear it from my phone, and I was like, "Oh, hey, my headphones aren't actually turned on."
Well, aside from my grandmother and that business, I actually just got a job today at a resort.
Oh, nice!
Starting here as soon as my criminal background check goes through, and yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Awesome. Hey, Joyful, how are you today?
I'm doing fine.
What's new? What's new?
Oh, I did, we recorded for the podcast last night with Tahir and, Garnet, and that was fun. It was a lot of fun. We talked about some serious stuff, but we also had a lot of fun doing it. I would suggest if you do get an invite ever, which I'm sure you will, Crystal, yeah, it's a really good time, for sure.
Well, I have invited them both to be on my show, so I will get to talk with them. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, they are both wonderful people, but I'm working on electrical on my truck, so I figured I could sit in and chime in every now and again.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, we're in Exodus 21 today. I'm reading from the NRSV. No, I'm just reading from the NRSV. I don't have the BUE or whatever. We accidentally did chapter 20 twice, but as I said before, I'm kind of glad we did, because, whoa, I actually highlighted something in this Bible. I hadn't done it yet. Hey, everybody who's coming in. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for the heart me's. Don't forget to collect your team, points or whatever. I'm actually gonna do what Joel did. I'm gonna record a commercial that I can push for myself, so I don't have to keep saying this all the time. But you guys know what to do. Tap that screen. Let's get to 5,000 likes as quickly as possible. Share out the live. I have a gift pool of the little flower things. I also am trying to reach 100 subbies this week. So if you haven't subscribed, please think of doing so today. I bring you Decon Q&A with CrystalJae. I bring you Non-Believers Bible Study. And now I'm starting to bring you Honest Atheist Reviews. So I give you great content. Also, we're going to be having a subscribers only live coming up. And I'm going to be doing some subscribers only videos. And I have a Discord. So if you're a subscriber already, hey, drop some of my stickers in the chat so those who haven't subscribed can see. And then don't forget to DM me so I can send you an invite to the Discord, okay? Hey, Spicy, how are you? Nick, JD, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good. What chapter you say we're in?
21. Because we
Okay. I got
accidentally
the
did
Tanakh
20
again.
twice. Okay, cool. Here's what we learned from Bert. And actually, it almost was like he learned it with us. Hey, Aaron, thank you guys. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate everybody. Okay, I'm just going to go over this because I just liked it so much. In Exodus chapter 20, verse 20, it says, Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid, for God has come only to test you and to put fear of him upon you so that you do not sin." And that afraid and fear is the same adjective or what have you. It's the same verbiage. So it literally contradicts itself in the same sentence. And I just love that.
That's crazy. A contradiction?
In the same sentence, though. You can't get better than that.
Don't be afraid, but I'm about to scare the shit out of you. Just so you know.
What? Oh no. Oh no. The verse is Exodus chapter 20, verse 20. Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid, for God has come only to test you and put fear of him upon you so that you do not sin." So don't be afraid of God. He came to make you afraid of him.
Yep.
Okay, let's move to chapter 21. Did anybody share this out to Bert yet?
Oh, no, not yet. Let me get him.
All right. I didn't. I don't know if I did or not. I sent it out to a couple groups, and I can't remember if he's in those groups or not.
Yeah, I did.
Where are you? I'm sure you're here somewhere.
You guys like my dumpling mug? I'm a
Aw.
dumpling. If you're one of Joel's dumplings and you like that dumpling mug, it's available in the merch store, and the link's in my bio, and all proceeds go to help people in our community. So, yeah, it's a good cause. Okay, here we go. The law concerning slaves. What a beautiful story to start on this morning. These are the ordinances that you shall set before them. When you buy a male Hebrew slave, he shall serve 6 years. But in the 7th, he shall go out a free person without debt. If he comes in single, he shall go out single. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone. But if the slave declares, "I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out a free person," then his master shall bring him before God. He shall be brought to the door or the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him for life. I actually find this to be so fucking disturbing.
Yes,
So-
this passage right here is so disgusting.
It's really
Yeah,
disgusting.
I
So I love
hate
my
it every
wife.
time I read it.
Me too. I love my wife, and in order to stay with her, I have to give up my freedom for an eternity. Otherwise, what you're going to do is probably grape her over and over again And you already own my children. There's nothing I could do about that. The only way I could have any say in their upbringing is to be here and stay for an eternity, you know? And it's just disgusting.
It is. You know, and there's another important point for here when it comes to indentured servitude, and this is what a lot of Christians fail to recognize, that it was only in the case of the men. The men were able to go through after 7 years.
Wait, but you know what? Somebody came up on Joel's live the other day and showed us a Bible verse that says that the women do go free in the year of Jubilee as the men.
Huh.
And I asked Jill, but we couldn't remember what the verse was. I'm going to see if I can find it real quick. Talk amongst yourself.
Okay. All right, everybody, if we could please get to double tapping that screen and sharing it out to at least 5 friends or more, or to your Discords. Even if you already shared it out, share it out again. Like, harass and spam your loved ones. Like Chaos, we always love spamming his inbox. He loves spam mail. That host does have a gift goal of some flower crowns, so if you have some spare coins, send them over to your Witcher. And we're actually almost to 100 subbies, y'all. Like, we're only 9 away. So if we could get 9 more subbies, it's lower than the price of a cup of Starbucks coffee, only $2.99 American a month.
I can't find it. I'm going to have to make Joel do a little YouTube research on that live and see if he can find it for me, because I had never heard it before, and this is the first time I saw a Christian come up and say, hey, you know that it says this or whatever, and I was like, oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to bring you all up, which I never do, but I'm so glad you're all here today. Let's just all come up.
I swear that
Yes.
that passage was like right before where you're at right now. But I thought that it was only for Israelites.
How do I change this to be the thing now? Because there we go. There we go. Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. I got somebody else coming up. If anybody else wants to join us, there's room for everybody now. There's room for one more anyway. There's room for one more.
I love it. This is the most I've seen in the Bible study. I absolutely love it.
I know.
This is awesome. Like, it's my first Bible study in like almost 30 years that I actually want to be here for.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome up, everybody.
Hey,
So,
you
yeah. Yeah, I go live most of the time on Wednesday mornings. My crew will tell you there are Wednesday mornings where I just don't make it. But for non-believers Bible study. And then a little bit later, I will be live with Dugald for Decon Q&A with CrystalJae at 3 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to be here.
All right.
Let's get it.
Good. I'm glad you're here too. Hey, you guys, make sure you all follow each other. You guys are all amazing. So I know you would all love each other. So make sure you all give each other a follow. If you're in chat, follow all my panelists. They are amazing. Is there any other comments or commentary? Is there anything we want to look at in the Tanakh or anything about those first verses? Questions,
Yeah,
comments,
so
anything? Oh, wait,
on
I'm gonna change.
the commentary in the Tanakh on verse, where was it, 2 through 6? Let's see. A Jew may become a bondsman either by selling himself as an escape from extreme poverty, which everybody knows, or he may be a thief who was sold by the court to raise funds to pay his victims. And then says the court sold him for 6 years, so is involved in his decision to extend his term. This is verse 6. This is interesting. The court is called Elohim. It says also means God, because the court carries out God's law on earth. I just thought that was interesting. The court was called Elohim.
Yeah, that is interesting. You guys on YouTube, you're not going to be able to see everybody because I don't know how to adjust. I don't know how to adjust my YouTube thing. So I made it so you could see, some of us up here. Miss basically me, but you can see other people. But thank you for being here. If you're over on the YouTubes, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I am trying so hard to get to 500. So if you haven't subscribed and you're over here on TikTok, the link is in my bio to my YouTube. It's I am CrystalJae, CrystalJae. That's interesting. Elohim is plural, they, them pronouns. Okay. That's very interesting. All right. Any other questions, commentary, or anything on those first verses? If not, we'll move along.
I am still looking for that one because it's going to bother me because I know it's there. Can you, what was the wording on it again? Do you remember?
It was something about that, like, it's basically, I don't know if it brought up Jubilee, but it says like if that to let the women go too. Like it was like when the men go, the women will go too, or something like that. And I had never heard that verse before.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I know the particulars. I've heard that the particulars is that the enslaved woman in person would have to be like married to the man before they were enslaved.
Well, that is true. Because we did just read that
Right.
that if they were married before they came in, then they can go out together.
I think
So
we're
that
about.
could be
I
what
think
it
we're.
is.
I think we're about to read some rules for the women being set free. But I don't want to get ahead. So let's see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's continue and see if we find it then. When a man sells his, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, so which book are we in and verse?
Exodus 21. I'm in verse 7 now.
Okay, thank you. I was a little bit lost. I was trying to figure out where we're at.
This.
No problem. When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. If she does not please her master, who has designated her for himself, then he shall let her be redeemed. He shall have no right to sell her to a foreign people, since he has dealt unfairly with her. If he designates her for his son, he shall deal with her as with a daughter. If he takes another wife to himself, he shall not diminish the food, clothing, or material rights of the first wife. And if he does not do these 3 things for her, she shall go out without debt, without payment of money. You notice how it says if a man sells his daughter, because like the moms are not selling their daughters.
Yeah, and the conditions set right here aren't anything about what she wants. It's just if he doesn't do this, then she can go.
Yeah.
And also, I think that it's because the men are who owned the children, not the wife.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which is freaking wild. She went through all that childbirth, like, and did all the work just for him to own them. Like, all right then.
Yeah. And as it says right here, so she won't go free like the male slaves do, because you're a slave forever as women. Oh, hi, Rabbi. How are you? Thank you for joining. Hey, Rabbi. When Joel was live the other day, a Christian brought up a verse that said that the women slaves do go free when the men go, and I cannot remember the verse. Do you know any verse that says that? I can't find it, and when I talked to Joel, he couldn't remember, but he knew like that the Christian brought it up. We were all kind of shocked because we didn't think it existed.
I'm busy, so if Rabbi wants to come up, I will drop.
Do you want to come up, Rabbi? If you do, Joyful will make space for you. Just put a request in the box if you do, and I'll drop Joyful like a hot potato.
Hot potato, hot potato. Hot potato, hot potato.
Okay, so only women. Okay, you're working. Okay, all right. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Also, it is really gross that some man would marry a woman, fuck her, and then pass her on to his son so that he could then fuck her.
Mm-hmm.
That's gross.
Absolutely.
Okay. Can I just say, and I'm going to try to be as TikTok friendly as I can, right? That's kind of like, if we look at it in today's terms, because women were considered property, if a dad were to have ordered a, plastic device, tried it out, and then been like, this one it's not right for me. Hey, son, do you
want my anal beads? You want my
Liz, oh
cock
my
ring?
God.
I'm done with my cock ring.
That
Would
is
you like
hilarious,
it?
Liz.
But am I wrong? Like,
No, you're not wrong.
Oh, Liz, oh my God.
Do not pass go. Do not collect. In fact, I vote to drop.
You know what? I'm not that joyful ran.
Joyful.
I love it.
He
That
was
was too
so
much for
done with
Joyful.
you.
I don't know what that means, but
So, would, Liz, with that said, would it kind of be like that thing where it's called Clone a Willy, but you just kind of pass it around the circle?
Oh my god.
so, because like the clone Willy, like that, like forms, and that's so that like the woman can have something. So we don't give a shit about her, right? She is the literal toy, right? So to me, it's just like a plastic fake woman.
The pocket rocket, right?
Yeah. There you go.
No.
Maybe
Okay.
more like a life-size version.
Y'all need Jesus. You are.
Literally.
This is a
Never
Bible
had it.
study, folks.
It's in the Bible,
We're
Jason,
reading the holy word of God.
and it's talking about this, Jason.
Jared.
This is a Walmart. What are you people doing?
This is a Wendy's. This is the Bible, and it talks about things like this, darn it, and donkey things, and all sorts of things.
Not the donkeys.
Incest. Yes, the donkeys. I apologize, Crystal. I didn't mean to take you off track. I just thought that was really interesting.
No,
That-
it's true. It is
It
true.
could be, yeah. I mean, that's basically what's happening. So you're welcome, guys.
Thanks so much. We do appreciate that. Okay. Anything else about these verses? Anything in the Tanakh we should look at, JD? Anything else?
No, nothing special here.
All right.
After that.
Moving on.
I can't top that. We need to move on.
Can't top that one. Okay. Okay. The law concerning violence. Okay. Hi, Yala. How are you? If any of the friendlies want to come up while we're doing non-believers Bible study, please just put in a request. We have one more space available. We are in Exodus chapter 21, verse 12 now. Whoever strikes a person mortally shall be put to death. If it was not premeditated, but came about by an act of God, then I will appoint for you a place to which the killer may flee. But if someone willfully attacks and kills another by treachery, you shall take the killer from the altar for execution. Wait a minute. What on earth? Like an act of God. I hit you like so hard it unalives you. Can't I just claim it was an act of God and then I can flee somewhere and hide? Like, how do we decide if it's an act of God?
Does that mean you can say God told me to unalive you?
Or
You
I
get away
can
with it?
say, like, that's what God wanted.
The only time I know
Phobic, we're literally reading the Bible. How are we
Yeah, how we
cherry-picking it?
cherry-pick?
We're reading it chapter by
Every-
chapter, you idiot.
Every freaking verse.
Like, we've been doing
Not
this
if
for
there's a
while, so that's why like we're kind of where we're at right now, because we did start on like page 1, and we're just going through. We're just reading it. Did you not agree with my analogy though? I thought it was pretty spot on.
Rabbi
Okay,
says not
so-
if there are witnesses.
But if there's not a witness, I could potentially claim
Yeah.
it. Right? That?
Yep.
Okay. All
Hey,
right.
do you want to check the Discord?
Who?
I'll check it.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that one.
And if it's an act to God, doesn't that kind of make God a schmurderer? Because they're saying it's his will, he did it.
Technically,
I mean,
Well,
he's already
technically,
done.
it would, in my opinion, it would be considered a murder. But Christian have this, idea that because God gives breath of life, so He's allowed to take it away, which is insane to me.
Absolutely. And also, what is it like? Who's going to give them the place to flee to? Moses gets to decide where the person goes to flee because, like, God has anointed Moses to be his mouthpiece. Is that how that works?
I think that is exactly what that is.
Awesome. So now, what do all of us do now that Moses is dead? Who do we turn to for where to flee?
Exactly. There's no defining. There's no way to tell who to talk to about that.
It's weird. It's very weird. Okay. Any other questions or commentary on that one?
not yet.
I'll read down through 18 since these next few are short. Whoever strikes father or mother shall be put to death. Whoever kidnaps a person, whether the person has been sold or is still held in possession, shall be put to death. Whoever curses father or mother... Wait, I thought I just said that. Oh, whoever strikes... Oh,
Yeah, you
okay.
did
Whoever
strike.
curses father or mother shall be put to death. That's kind of weird to separate those two and put something in between. Okay. When individuals quarrel and one strikes the other with a stone... God, these people are so violent. Or fist, so that the injured party, though not dead, is confined to bed, but recovers and walks around outside with the help of a staff, then the assailant shall be free of liability, except to pay for the loss of time and to arrange for full recovery. Okay. What the hell?
What
You should
kind of
still have...
bullshit is this?
Right?
It
That makes
You
no
strike
sense.
your mom or
really,
dad, you're done. You curse your mom or dad, you're done. You hit a dude with a rock and he's okay, you just walk away?
Yep.
Even though
What the
they're
hell?
still injured and they can walk around with a
Yes.
staff, you
What
know?
the-
this really seems like it's setting up key parts for like misogyny to happen and abuse towards like women, and men just walk away as usual in the Bible.
Oh, that's a good point.
For me,
Yeah,
Dagger,
valid
setting
point.
up that God's ways is higher than our ways, and we're just not going to be able to understand it.
Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, it's
Amen.
the reason to evade accountability. That's what the setup is.
Yeah. I think so. I do. It's ridiculous. And they're so violent. Like, okay, whoever strikes your mom or dad, whoever kidnaps a person, whoever curses their parents, whoever strikes somebody with a rock, like, I don't know, why can't it, like, and also kind of weirdly specific with a fist or a rock. What if I hit you with a freaking chair? Then does anything happen to me? What if I smack you with a broom? Then what?
I don't think it applies because it's not a rock.
Yep, just a fist or a stone, that's it. Everything else fair game.
You know that's how a Christian would read it. They would be like, no, because you have to use your fist or a stone. I hit him with a brick.
I was gonna say something I forgot. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Please don't hit me with
I
a
just
chair.
love how the fact that the only thing that you have to pay for is the time that they recover. Because
Right?
it says you have to pay for the loss of time. Yeah, it's like, that's it. That's all the damage you've done.
And them walking around with a cane or whatever is when they have decided the recovery. Like, that's when, okay, he's up, he's walking, he's got a cane.
That's right.
That's it. He's good. Doesn't matter that he has to live with that cane for the rest of his life now and cannot run. Okay.
Does it matter what size the rock is?
I guess not. Okay. When a slave owner strikes a male or female slave with a rod and the slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if the slave survives a day or two, there is no punishment, for the slave is the owner's property. You know, Christians like to point this verse out a lot to show that, see, if they unalived them, then they had to be punished. But you know what I noticed? For a very specific book with a very specific laws, they don't tell us what the punishment is. So it literally could be like a timeout or something. Go sit in the corner for a little bit. All right, you did your time.
Yeah, even the Tanakh doesn't say what it is. It says, surely be avenged.
Yeah, they don't give us any specifics on what's going to
Yeah,
happen to that murderer.
but like you said, it's so specific. Oh, a rod, a stone,
Mhm.
a fist, but the punishment's not specific at all. And there's no footnotes here either.
But if you curse your mom and dad, what happens?
You're done.
You're done.
Done.
If you strike your mom and dad, what happens?
You're done.
But if it's a slave, it's a punishment. Nah, we don't really want to get into the details. It's a parking ticket. Aaron says it's
It
a
might as
parking
well be a
ticket.
parking ticket.
I do find it interesting, and I'm probably taking it back just a couple of steps, but I do find it interesting, though, that it does say that you have to honor your father or your mother when she is, like, still, you know, considered property and doesn't have a lot of rights. It's still, it shows that hierarchy that children are still, even though they are property, they are even lower than women are.
Yeah, but Liz, keep in
Yeah.
mind, it is the husband, the wife is the husband's property. So you're striking something that the man owns. You're cursing something the
Oh,
man owns. So of course you're going to get
Oh
punished.
my God, that is such a good
that's a good
point.
point.
That's why I was
Wow.
pointing towards the misogyny that it's kind of
Yeah.
pointing towards earlier.
Mind
Yeah.
blown.
Every
And I
time we went through this, we
value how they were lesser than women. Does that go with like boys? Like
that's a good
are
I
question.
think that little girls are lesser than little boys. I think that there's the men, then it goes the wife because she has to take care of the kids in the house and stuff, and then it's little boys and then little girls.
interesting?
So, how I also look at that is because the girls were worth a price of a dowry to the father, that the girls would actually be worth more than the boys at that point in time because they're worth not only a dowry, which could mean land or goats or riches or something like that, that until the point where they were sold, because that's ultimately what they're doing. Sorry, but that's the only time that I see a girl being valued more than a boy, but it's also because the father owns them.
But isn't it a little boy actually valued more because they are the family line and the blood is going to, you know, continue through them according to ancient.
I feel like
Hebrew belief?
there's a different, like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a difference between asset and family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Yes.
the little girl is valuable, but she's valuable as an asset to them. The boy
Yeah.
is valuable as a family member, and he's not going to leave. He's not going to go away. He's going to be there with the family, and he's going to establish the tradition and the family legacy. The daughter, like Dido was saying, is something like you could trade, or you can make peace offerings with, whatever. You know,
It's
it's
like
it's
a,
like a dowry, like you said.
Yeah, it's like a you know, a collectible item or something, you know, something that's worth value today versus like you would say your friends are valuable to you.
And that true. And we also know that men could have multiple wives in this period of time, so multiple dowries.
Mm.
And the money piles higher and higher.
Yeah.
This is discussing
Hey, you
how they
guys.
view human beings.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
It's discussing how they view human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mhm.
They didn't value life at all. Hey, you guys, I don't see any hearts flying at all. And I see you guys hard up the screen for all the creators, but I'm not seeing any. And so can we start tapping away? Let's get to 20,000 by the hour. Or Liz is going to turn off the comments and then
You already know.
I'm in isolating.
I keep my promises. I'll turn it off. I keep my promises, and I give you warnings.
Crystal,
Sorry, Crystal.
if you click on the guest request, next to your name there should be an expand button. You should be able to keep all your boxes, but expand your picture.
I thought I couldn't with 9 up here for some reason.
I don't know. There we go.
Oh, wait. There we go. So let me fix YouTube when it comes over. You can't tap the screen because of this screen?
Just tap next to right above her box is where you can tap.
Whenever those boxes are really small, guys, you can still click on Crystal's box.
Yep.
Even though it's a small one, it will still work.
There we go. Now you can boop my nose, okay?
Now we can boop the nose.
Thank you, Nick. I'm sorry that was stopping you guys from tapping. I did not know that. Thank you, Nick. You saved the day.
It's harder
let's
because
all tap my box. Everybody, just start tapping my box.
I think I'm going to need Liz's permission for that, but okay.
What if you're both tapping it at the same time? Wouldn't that be okay? Because it's like,
I'm okay with it.
I think I've seen this movie before.
One of my favorites.
I'm doing it with 3 fingers. Is that okay?
Oh my god!
Gonna need more than 3.
Go.
Where am I? What am I doing?
We're going to
This
get
went
back
so-
to reading the Bible now.
You got
Okay.
me up here. Of course it's going to go that way because I'm here. So, sorry, guys. But you're welcome.
Okay, another thing back in 20, where we're talking about how he unalives the slave. As long as the slave doesn't unalive immediately. But what if it, dies in a couple of days? And I say it because the Bible is treating it like it's a human, obviously, okay? What if their piece of property dies in a couple of days? Why don't we have more information about this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we
it
need
does
this
say that.
stupid ass law.
What does your version say on the time period? Because the Tanakh says a day will survive for a day
Mine
or 2.
says, I'm sorry, I was on the wrong verse. When the slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished, but if the slave survives a day or 2.
Yeah, so a day or 2. So 3 days.
So on the third
It
day.
don't matter as long as they survive 2 days.
Mine says, but if the slave survives a day or 2, there is no punishment, for the slave is the owner's property. So if he survives a day or 2, 1 or 2
then it's all
days
good.
is all you need.
That's so disgusting.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah, so I guess
What
if he
is wrong
doesn't
with people?
if he doesn't survive after 2 days, it's on God, and there's no punishment.
But also,
When
this
I
As
was
we
isn't.
a
read
youth-
earlier.
It's the cruelty of it
Go
all.
ahead, Liz.
It
Oh,
is.
sorry.
Sorry.
You're
No,
good.
you're fine.
I was just going to say that this is implying that because who is paying attention to the timeline other than the slave owner? So we're relying on the slave owner to be honest here, unless there's somebody else working there. So I'm sorry, I don't trust slave owners. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like whenever I'm doing internal critique, it's really bad. But when I'm looking at it like religion, like just studying religion, I want to give grace to the authors and the people of this time because they don't have what we are working with. You know what I mean? This is Bronze Age. They're in barbaric times, and I'm not saying that they're coming out with the best laws. I'm not saying the argument that they're even getting the law of Hammurabi and they're making it better. That doesn't add up. But what I am saying is that, these are people in the Bronze Age and they don't have the morality that we have today. And it's only when you're using this for your morality when it's bad. I feel like I needed to say that for some
Right.
reason.
No, I understand that if this is people, that's the case, right? But these people are saying that this is what God said, and I'm not saying it's right that people said it either. I'm saying I can understand the depravity of a freaking human mind back then, and even today. Like, let's face it. If Trump made slavery legal tomorrow, people would try to enslave everybody. You know, they would be enslaving everybody they could. They're
Yep.
disgusting. What I'm saying is, like, I get it that it's the Bronze Age, and I get it that men actually wrote this. I'm saying that Christians believe this is an all-loving God who said to do this, and that's disgusting and disturbing to me. Why? One, how could you even think that somebody that is loving would say anything like this? And two, if he's not all loving, why would you worship a God, even if he was real, who said to do this? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And the brain warp for me is that these people to themselves, so they were not, I don't think that they thought of themselves as evil. You know what I mean? I feel like if you were able to have a conversation with one of these authors or these people in the Bronze Age, they would feel like they had love and they would feel like they, were in the right. And it's a mind warp for me to even understand that. It's just so crazy.
Here's how I know that they knew this was wrong. Here's how I know that they knew this was wrong, okay? Is that the whole story is about them becoming free from slavery.
Yep.
Okay? If the story wasn't about how they were freed from slavery and how their God was so loving to free them from slavery, then I could believe that they didn't understand that what they were doing was wrong. But they understood it was wrong because they didn't want it done to them. They just didn't see other people as humans.
I mean, if you look at it in, the slavery of the U.S., like all of those white men that were having, like, they would never put themselves in that position to be slaves. Are you kidding?
No.
Never.
No.
Because they know how bad it is on the other side because they're the ones inflicting it, right? And
no. Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you listen, anytime somebody's live and they're talking to a white person who's a Christian about slavery, every single time that person thinks of themselves as the slave owner, not the slave.
Yes. They don't even realize it.
They don't. And it could be women too. And I'm thinking, bitch, you would have been a slave. Shut the fuck up. I don't even care what color you are. You're a woman. You would have been a slave. Mm-hmm. And you're sitting here acting like you would have been a slave owner. You would not have been. Well, you're not an Israelite, and you're a woman.
They're looking to like they'll be marrying a slave owner.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true.
To them, it's like they wouldn't be slaves themselves because their husbands will be the slave owner.
And a lot of them are already.
So they would have been captured.
Mm.
And then taken as a wife. And then if you like what you got, you'd stay a wife. Otherwise, he, sends you on your way.
The whole like marital grape aspect is still there, that it's so ingrained.
It's still alive today. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like Hannah says, like Rabbi Hannah says, yeah, but those women were still property. They're still so even if that woman marries a slave owner, she herself is still a slave.
She just doesn't consider herself that.
Right, but the logic is, even though I'm still a slave, but I'm a different slave.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not working as you are. I still get to wear the finest clothing, whatever they're thought of. My position, it's like a position. Like, my position is higher than yours. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't mind that. As long as I'm not in the same position as you.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes down to.
Back to that hierarchy we were talking about earlier.
And that's why, like...
It just...
Oh, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Liz. Sorry.
Wow.
You're one person now. You're one person now. Sorry.
We've been told. No, go ahead. I was going to kind of take it back to where we started with this. So...
Go ahead.
Okay. I was looking through the comments, and Madison had a good comment. You can beat them again on day 3.
Yeah.
You know, so we talked about you have to wait a day or two to see if they unalive to figure out what you're supposed to do. But I wonder too, so if it's today and I beat my slave, right? And then the next day I'm like, okay, they're still alive. If I do it again and then they unalive, is that the same offense or is it a new offense? Like the counter restarted, right?
Yeah.
If you continuously do it, how do you know which day it is? So it seems like there's a built-in loophole there too.
Well, they're never going to tell anybody that they're continuing to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's going to really find out any of this shit, you know? They just do what they want.
And I find it interesting that this section is extremely short compared to some of the other laws that are other people have to be accountable to other people. So that also kind of shows to me maybe that this really wasn't taken as seriously or wasn't brought up as much because you're relying on the person doing the atrocious thing to fess up that they did it. And that's never going to happen. So let's give it a couple of sentences and let's really dive in and you know, have a whole huge section about women and their virginity on their wedding night, right? Like,
yeah. Let's talk about how we can unalive women, because that's going to be what that's really about. All right. This is such a... God, I really hate these verses. Okay. When people who are fighting injure a pregnant woman so that there is a miscarriage and yet no further harm follows, the one responsible shall be fined what the woman's husband demands, paying as much as the judges determine. If any harm follows, then you shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. So one, what this tells me is that this baby isn't a human life yet, because all we have to do is pay a little money if we unalive a baby when we punch a pregnant woman. It's such a disturbing fucking book. I can't believe they want this in schools.
As somebody who was punched in the stomach when I was pregnant by a person with Alzheimer's, that's just horrifying.
Isn't it horrifying?
I bet.
Oh, God.
And then it's the woman has no say in any of it. The woman, and if there's no further injury, you don't think the loss of her baby has caused injury upon her psyche, her mental health? There is further injury. The baby dying is only one part of it.
But we have to remember, back in the Bible times, women were property.
I know. I don't care. It just makes me
care. They don't care either.
And yeah, I mean, it's so weird, but I'm so thankful that as humans we're able to move past this stage. like it gives me some kind of respect of where we're at today. And I have to put it in that perspective where I just get really dark with it, like what the fuck. But yeah, I'm really glad that we're able to be in a system where it's not like this. But at the same time, if we look at it in a different way, like you were saying, this definitely tells us that pro-life argument is not biblical.
Right. And
the only people that actually get to determine the value of what was lost is the husband and the judge. Mm-hmm. And so, like you said, the woman is totally out of the picture. It's really just what the husband feels like he lost and what the judge determines as, justice. And so, whenever they try to tell us that we can look in the Bible and we should be able to say, Exodus 21 verses 22 and 23 or 25, read that whole verse verses to them, and you should be able to show them that this is not a biblical argument.
I mean,
I
also, it
agree.
doesn't. I don't know where the Bible says it, but because I'm not good with verses and all that. It's been 25 years since I've read the Bible myself. But there is a verse that says that for the pro-lifers, that a child is, and all the ones that claim that a zygote is a baby, that in the Bible it says that a baby is not a baby until it's born. And I don't know where it is, but somebody had, I think it was Ken or Christina who had read
I
that.
think there's a verse that talks about first breath, if I'm not mistaken. If somebody in the chat,
The breath of
knows,
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, the breath of
You
life.
guys, don't forget, in 8 minutes, the comments will be turned off unless we get to 20,000 likes. So start tapping that screen if you want to keep the comments on. Aaron, I did see your comment, and I want to bring it that you were talking about how pro-lifers use it as proof there should be punishment for abortion. But what I like to point out that there's only punishment if somebody else unalives your baby. There is no punishment for a husband asking their wife to drink bitter water. So that's not actually true. Unaliving a baby only is punishment if somebody else does it, not if
Yeah,
you.
the punishment wasn't for the miscarry.
Mm-mm.
The punishment's only if
It's
she
the loss of property.
unalive. Yeah.
It's the loss of property again. Okay, anything else on that? Anything else we should address from the Tanakh or anything on that, JD?
No footnotes on here.
All right.
I guess it's just
Where'd Nick
straightforward.
go?
She said in the comments that she had to drop, but she'll be back.
Okay. When a slave owner strikes the eye of a male or female slave, destroying it, the owner shall let the slave go, a free person, to compensate for the eye. If the owner knocks out a tooth of a male or female slave, the slave shall be let go, a free person, to compensate for the tooth. Now, I just want to point out to you that this sounds like it's really compassionate. I blinded the slave in the one eye, so I have to let go. It's not about compassion
not.
here. This is again about damaging your property. You damage
Yep.
your property, you can let them go now. Then they're not even going to be.
There's no resale value.
Yeah, there's no resale value in a slave with one eye. And the reason the teeth, I've talked about it before with some scholars and some Bible people, and they were like, it's because if they knocked out their teeth, then they couldn't eat, and if your slave couldn't eat, they wouldn't have the energy to do the work for you. So it's again all about your property. It's not really about compassion for the person.
Holy shit. I never thought about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. All right. And also, I'd like you to notice, again, how much detail we went into here, okay? When a slave owner strikes the eye of a male or female slave, destroying it, the owner shall let the slave go, a free person, to compensate for the eye. And then goes on about the, tooth. Okay, so we know what the punishment is here. Why don't we know what the punishment is when you unalive them? You told us what the punishment was here. You had to let them go. All right. When an ox gores a man or a woman to death, the ox shall be stoned, and its flesh shall not be eaten. But the owner of the ox shall not be liable. If the ox has been accustomed to gore in the past, and its owner has been warned but has not restrained it, and it kills a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and its owner also shall be put to death. If a ransom is imposed on the owner, then the owner shall pay whatever is imposed for the redemption of the victim's life. If it gores a boy or a girl, the owner shall be dealt with according to this same rule. If the ox gores a male or a female slave, the owner shall pay to the slave owner 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned.
That's some shit.
That's some shit. Again, we're going to know exactly what to do if an ox gores somebody, right? But we still don't know what happens to a slave owner if he kills a slave. Also, like, how disgusting. Uh, there's all this. You can redeem. You can be put to death if it's a Hebrew person. But if it's a slave, just 30 shekels. By the way, if you don't understand what shekels are, shekels were a weight. Okay? And so they would make a shekel that had the exact weight, and they I forget where they kept it, like in the temple or something, and that way they could check to see if like a shekel you were giving them weighed the right amount. Okay, they would have one that they could test it to. Okay, so that way you didn't make a shekel and have it be cut with something that was lighter or whatever, right? So 30 shekels is a weight measurement, and it's not very much money. It's like $300, somewhere around there. People will say 60. That's not true. Go look up how much a shekel weighs, then take that weight times 30 or whatever, and then put it in at today's rate of silver, and that's how you find out how much it would be. Mocha, slavery is disgusting to everybody. Hopefully, I would hope. If it's not disgusting to you, then you need to look at yourself. Okay, any questions, comments, or anything in the Tanakh about the ox unaliving people?
No, it just says
Yes.
it's an expression of the sanctity of human life. That nothing
So
sticks out.
when Rabbi Burt was telling us what stoning was, is this mean that they put the ox on top of the cliff and
I was just thinking
make it
about
drop?
that. That's what I was just thinking.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I know. I don't know. I've been thinking about that this whole time. I did learn. I don't remember if it's in my Tanakh study Bible thing or where I learned it, but there were, maybe it was Rabbi Hannah or something. I don't remember. I'm sorry. But it was that there were different types of stoning. So yes, there is a stoning where you push somebody off the cliff and then you roll the boulder over them. But there was also stoning where, because there are people where we'll say who will be the first to cast a stone. And so there was stoning where you threw stones at people too.
I would just pay to watch these Bronze Iron Age people trying to like rally this ox that has like unalived people because they're so like vicious off a cliff, or like throw stones at it to unalive it. Like that just sounds so funny to me to watch. If it wasn't brutal.
You guys,
if it wasn't
thank you for
brutal.
getting me to 20,000 likes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Keep tapping the screen. Let's work for 30,000 in the next half hour. Let's get the numbers up. I appreciate it. Okay. Anything else on that? On the stoning of the ox or whatever. All right. If someone leaves a pit open or digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls into it, the owner of the pit shall make restitution, giving money to its owner, but keeping the dead animal.
Now, how often do people start digging random pits that we needed to write this down?
I don't know. And the fact that they will give you so much information about this friction ox, and we still don't know what happened when a slave owner unalived a slave. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it sounds like oxen have more rights than slaves ever did.
Well, okay, if you think about it, though, an ox not only can help you with your work, but once it has passed, it is then can provide you food.
Oh.
It has a dual purpose.
Huh. Okay. I mean,
yes, Cash, technically humans could do the same, but
yeah.
and yes, there is that kind of stuff in the Bible, but we're not,
Yeah, we're humans here, not nasty cannibals. So there's that.
Well, it looks like
Okay.
your ox just fell in my hole. I guess I need to take it for meat. I have 20 coins here. Take it and leave.
Okay. If someone's ox hurts the ox of another, we're going to keep talking about ox because they're so
Holy
damn
crap.
important. so that it dies, then they shall sell the live ox and divide the price of it, and the dead animal they shall also divide. But if it was known that the ox was accustomed to gore in the past, and its owner has not restrained it, the owner shall restore ox for ox, but keep the dead animal. I'm so glad that we were able to learn what we should all do with our livestock as we go about our lives. This was really important for people to know for eons. I'm really glad God realized we would always need to know this information. I'm sorry, I started reading the comments. Oh my gosh.
It's super important to realize who gets to keep the dead animal, it seems like. That's like one of the main things they need to worry and figure out about.
Yeah, I was really curious about that. I'm glad they straightened that out for us.
Schley, congratulations on your test. You guys, everybody congratulate Schley for kicking butt on her test. Thank you,
Yay.
Tiger, for pointing that out.
Congratulations.
Schley is working her butt off, and I'm so proud of her. All right, anything else on chapter 22?
Are we done talking about
on
ox?
Or 21, I'm sorry. I guess it was 21. We're going to 21, so we can move into 22.
Are we done talking about ox now?
I think so.
I sure
think
hope
we're on laws of restitution. Laws of restitution. Liz, can you do a commercial for me real quick?
I can try my best. Thank y'all for hitting that 20K.
We're still going to be talking about oxes, Liz. Sorry.
Damn it!
Shh. No spoilers.
Never mind. I don't want to do a commercial now. I can't. I can't. Thank y'all for the 20K. We are almost halfway to that 30K that Crystal so kindly asked of us. I think it's the least that we could do. We do have 84 shares. If we can get that to 100, that would be ideal. If you don't have anyone to share to, you can click on the little arrow down in the bottom right-hand corner. Go ahead. Okay. Okay, and that pop-up that comes up, there's a button that says share. Do you see it? Okay, or copy. Sorry. Oh, look, we're already over 100. Y'all, I don't even
you guys.
I have walked you through how to do the copy link so many times that y'all already know. I appreciate y'all. Hot tip, if you are sharing to people, you know how like you can select multiple people at a time to share to? That only counts as one share, even though you shared to multiple people. I just recently realized that people didn't know that. So if you're going to share, it can be a pain in the butt, but share to people individually so that each and every one of those counts.
That is unless you hold down on Crystal's face and it pops up.
Very true.
Yep, and then they count as individual shares.
Exactly.
I was just going to say boop and hold her nose and it'll
Hold
come up
her
with
nose.
friends list.
Your finger is already there booping her nose to like the live. You may as well just hold on to it for a little extra second and get that pop-up. We do have, we're halfway through the gift goal. It is the, what is that called? Flower headband. Ooh, so it puts a little flower crown on your head?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all, please. We need more of those because I've got to see it. Look at this gorgeous face. Let's put some a flower crown. She deserves flower crowns. So if you have some extra coin, that is always very helpful to help push to the FYP. And if you like the content, please subscribe. We're at 91 subscribers right now. And there is going to be exclusive subscriber content coming. So if you want to get in on that, you know what you need to do. Thanks, guys.
And you guys, I bring you great content. Do you know I'm going to have Dugald today? I have Thinker. DC and I are going to go live. I have Fluff coming up. I can't even remember everybody because I have so many great creators coming up. So I bring you great creators, bring you great content. Subscribe today. If you've already subscribed and you want to do something sweet, you can always gift subscriptions out. Oh, thank you so much. And those gift subscriptions always make the chat happy. Also, if you're in chat, drop some stickers down so people can see some of the things they get for being a dark crystallite.
And if you're a subscriber during the Q&A sessions that we have coming up, these are the stickers that you can use because during the favorite game of everybody's, Divine or Decline, there are stickers that you can use to indicate whether you pick divine or decline and stand out from the bunch and get your call outs.
Yeah,
And
for
speaking
sure.
of divine or decline, Krista will do a sub only where us, the viewers, will ask her questions.
Yes, I am doing that. We're gonna do a little special sub only live where you guys get to come ask me divine or decline questions. So.
Oh, I am going to be studying because you all know how much we hate these questions because she is so good at writing them and always trips us up. I can't wait to trip you up now.
I'm already making shit up for you, Crystal.
Okay, let's move on to chapter 22. All right. When someone steals an ox or a sheep, God damn it.
Poor ox.
And slaughters it or sells it, the thief shall pay 5 ox for an ox, and 4 sheep for a sheep. The thief shall make restitution, but if unable to do so, shall be sold for the theft. Wow, that's pretty serious. When the animal, whether ox or donkey or sheep, is found alive in the thief's possession, the sheep shall pay the sheep. The sheep is going to pay for the thief, okay? The thief shall pay double. Yeah, okay. What? So you're just going to sell a human being because they stole something?
Well, it kind of adds up with the rest of what's going on. Like,
right, Chai? It's crazy.
Let's get out of slavery so we can beat, abuse, and sell everything, and then when our neighbors come and like are in the worst position possible that they have to steal from us, we're gonna sell them.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Judge Parker?
No, I don't think so.
Yes. So he's the hanging judge, and in America in the early days, if you stole someone's horse or livestock, he would hang you, like straight up. We still have the gallows in our town, and we are able to walk underneath the gallows, and it's like, do not play on the gallows. This is a method of justice. So we were way more barbaric.
So
we're way more barbaric with people.
Theft? You like? Did you just hang them?
Yes, of course.
Jesus.
Yeah, this is the Wild West. This is the Wild West. They didn't play back then. Like, I mean, you got to think this was their cars. This was their livelihood. I mean, if you were an immigrant and you were lucky enough to buy a horse, a lot of times you were lucky. I mean, that's all you could afford. And so, I mean, if someone's stealing cattle or horse, it's a lot of effort to find them and to find out who done it. So to curve it, yeah, that's what they did. They I mean, you'd be hung.
It's disgusting.
I agree with Crystal. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I've never been fond of the way we did things in the Wild West, to be honest with you. I lived in Kansas for 15 years, and there's a lot of Wild West history there, and it's horrific. It really is. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for the gifts. I really appreciate it. Okay.
Because initially what we're saying livestock has more value than a human being. That's what, like, the whole thing. That's what we are, I guess, saying that's right. Yeah, livestock is just have a higher value. That's crazy.
It's so weird the way they value things here, and I agree with you. In the Old West, to value your horse more than a human being is disgusting. And I know I've heard people say too before, but that was their only mode of transportation and stuff. So what? I've had a person steal my car before. Not once did I think I wanted them unalived over that.
Exactly.
You know, I just wanted my car back. That's all I wanted.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not excusing, we're not excusing of the theft, but the punishment is just crazy.
Yeah, it really is.
So we
Ah.
also. Oh,
Oh, go ahead, Dagda.
I've just heard like Rabbi Bert talk about this before, also in like biblical terms too. Back then, you got to remember too that they had huge amounts of droughts and things like that. So a lot of the time, it was easier to unalive somebody else than it was to get rid of your livestock and things like that because of how important they were to your survival.
Yeah, it's like I think it's easy for us to judge people back then, and it really is because I mean, shit. But at the same time, I do respect it because I mean, it's like if you get a couple of thieves back then and they steal all of your cows, you and your family are going to starve in the winter. There is no
No, and I
Walmart.
get that, but that's not what we're not even talking about all of it right now. This guy has stolen one. You know, and on top of it, like the hierarchy in this Bible is ridiculous though. Okay, so let's talk about just the sheep compared to the oxen, okay? So if it's an oxen, the thief has to pay for 5, but if it's a sheep, it's only 4. Why? Like that's weird. Why wouldn't even oxen and sheep have a hierarchy in this Bible?
I've asked this to Bert as well as donkeys. So donkeys and oxen were really useful for plowing their fields and carrying things and using for carts, as to where a sheep can't do that.
No, I get that, but a sheep can provide wool for you season after season after season. Okay?
I know. It's just how
So what
he
all I'm
explained it to
saying
me.
is,
So I was like,
is the way that they put a hierarchy on everything that just seems very unbalanced and just very arbitrary to me. It just is. It just is. Like,
Yeah,
100% agreed with that.
I just feel like that's what's going to be value for them and their culture, and that's going to translate into the scripture and into their laws.
no, I
right?
agree.
So,
I
like,
just think it's stupid.
if they value
Rabbi
animals that pull plows, they're going to put that at higher value than maybe animals that provide them wool for some reason. Maybe they can
And
find clothes
Rabbi-
somewhere else. I don't know.
I don't know. I
Sorry,
just see
Rabbi
it
Hana
so
is
extremely
saying
barbaric.
only.
I'm sorry.
Rabbi Hana
Chai
said-
Chai first and then Dagda, okay? Go ahead, Chai Chai. What did you have to say?
I understand the whole livestock, like if they steal your livestock, I mean it's probable to death. I get that, but the punishment to me is just too barbaric. Like
Me
we could like I'm not excusing theft. That's not I really want that to come across. But if you steal something from me, I don't think you should be on a life for it. Now, and does that mean that you should not be punished? No, but on a life for stealing, even though it might cost me food, it's just too barbaric for me, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree. I agree 100%.
I was just gonna add
Mimi,
in
I
Rabbi.
see you. I'm sorry, Dagda. Hang on 1 second. Mimi, I see you in the. Okay, all right. I thought it must have been an accident. Go ahead, Dagda.
I was just gonna add in that Rabbi Hana in the chat did say only female sheep were more valuable. Sorry. So, like during that whole exchange, only the female sheep in this instance were regarded higher than the male sheep, which is odd because that's kind of opposite to how they seen humans.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I'm wondering if that's for
But
their
why
milk
were they?
or if the women produce more wool. Yeah.
But
Rabbi Hana, why were they worth more?
it also makes sense to me that like the wool wouldn't matter as much because if we look at where they are at, like globally, it's not a place like it's a place that's usually pretty warm, so you wouldn't need as much as you would if it was a colder climate.
She's saying it's wool and reproduction is the reason they were valued more. Okay. All right. Okay. Here we go. If a thief is found breaking in and is beaten to death, no blood guilt is incurred. But if it happens after sunrise, blood guilt is incurred. I wonder Why after sunrise? Does it say anything in the Tanakh, JD, about that?
Yeah. So it says if the sun shone, i.e., if it is clear that the intruder means no physical harm, as it is clear that the shining, shining sun brings healing to the world, then it is forbidden for the householder to unalive them.
I don't understand. Do you
So
understand?
maybe because they don't mean harm because they're doing it in the daytime. We might meet Rabbi Hannes.
Hey,
I'm
Crystal.
gonna see what mine says. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to be driving. Can you drop me down, please?
Sure.
I got her.
Sure. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
up, Spicy.
I'll still be in.
I dropped her.
Yes,
too, so I'm
Hannah,
sorry, Spicy.
I've got the Tanakh.
I'm looking at mine too right now, JD. Mine's a little hard to read.
Can you, what was the passage again?
It's Exodus 22, 22:2. If a thief is found breaking in and is beaten to death, no blood guilt is incurred. But if it happens after sunrise, blood guilt is incurred.
Yeah, so in the Tanakh, that's verse 1. Verse 2 says, if the sun shone upon him, there is... Wait, I'm lost now.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
This verse set between hyphens are a separate law interposed here for the unknown reason. There is no blood guilt in his case. If the circumstances are such that the homeowner has reason to fear for his or his family's life, such as where the thief is not visible to witness. But if he catches the thief in broad daylight when the thief would presumably fear detection and not risk killing anybody, the homeowner is guilty of homicide. In the absence of danger to life, there is no right to kill a thief. So because they broke in during the daytime, they assumed that since the thief did it during the daytime, he did not intend to harm anybody. But if he had done it at night, he's doing it undercover, and there could have been the expectation that he was going to harm people too.
Okay. I found it fascinating that it says, as if he has no blood. That's like, does that mean like as if he's not even a person?
Wait, say it again?
In verse 1 in the Tanakh, from what I'm reading in the Tanakh, it says, if while breaking in the thief is discovered and he is struck in unalives, it is if he has no blood.
Mine says
no
guilt.
blood guilt.
Blood guilt.
Not mine, anyway.
Yeah, that's what mine says. Blood guilt.
Oh, mine didn't even have guilt in there.
That's weird.
Huh. Yeah.
It means that you do not get blood guilt, Hannah says. Rabbi Hannah says. Okay. That's weird. All right. When someone causes a field or a vineyard to be grazed over or lets livestock loose to graze in someone else's field, restitution shall be made from the best to the owner's field or vineyard. Oh, good. I'm so glad we took care of that vineyard. I don't really have anything to say on that part. If anybody else does, you guys can comment. Otherwise, I'll just go on to the next one.
Rabbi, are you asking DC which Tanakh version he's reading? Since he was the one that was different.
I'm reading this one, Rabbi.
Yes, DC. Which version were you reading? She also asked if you could read it again.
Yeah, this is chabad.org. Um, and it says, I'm reading the classic text, the Shemot. I don't know. I have Rashi's commentary on, but I don't know if that's the grazing. The grazing.
I think
What
that's
do you mean by
important.
that?
Not JPS, the grazing. Ha, bad. I don't know
I
what
think
any of that means.
I think she's asking if we can read the
Oh,
part about
Habad, not Chabad. Okay. And she
Oh,
wants to
here
know if
she
I can read the
comes.
part about the grazing. Okay.
Here she comes.
Okay, so you're reading from Chabad.org, right?
Yes.
And you're reading Rashi's commentary. Right?
Is that
Rashi's
correct?
Oh
commentary?
wait, no. The Rashi's commentary is now showing up. It had it on show, but it wasn't showing up. Now it is.
Okay. And so, and then you're using, it's a JPS?
Me?
Crystal, the Jewish Study
I'm
Bible you
using,
have, who's the publisher?
yes. The
JPS?
publisher is, yes, JPS.
Okay.
And
And
I've
then,
got the
did you
Stone
read
edition.
the Stone Humash?
Maybe. Let me
It
put it on
should
camera.
be
And I'll
it's
show
a blue cover and it says Humash on the front.
you. Flip my camera. If I can hold it steady.
Yes, Cash, it looks like literal plants have more rights than humans.
No, it's not that literal plants have more rights than human beings.
Oh, right. There's more rules, though. But, like, more specific rules on how to treat literal plants than with fellow human beings that are enslaved.
Right. And you know why you can't overgraze your land?
Something about food.
No, it's not just about food. It's because the law stated that anyone who was poor was entitled to glean from your land. So if you overgrazed it, you were taking away food from other human beings.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that is...
That is a law that still is in existence in Israel. You're not allowed to overgraze your land, and you're not allowed to, when you are farming your land, you're not allowed to, you have to leave 20% of your fruit, vegetable, anything that you're planting. So anyone who happens to be poor does not have to embarrass themselves by asking for food. They can come and harvest from your lands.
Jason, we haven't been able to see your camera if you've turned it on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought y'all did. Hang on.
That's okay.
No,
Sometimes it
we're
glitches and it
still-
like just doesn't show us, even though it shows you. It's weird. You know how TikTok is.
Okay.
There we go. Now
Okay.
your camera's on.
So this is the front cover. I know
It's the Stone Tanakh. I'm sorry. I thought it was the Stone Humash.
yeah. So
Yeah, that's Art Scroll. I know it.
Okay. So did you want one of us to reread something, Rabbi?
The grazing part.
So, verse 4. If a man leads his animal into a field or a vineyard, or lets his animal loose and it eats another's field, the best of his field or the best of the vineyard shall pay. And then it says, if he leads his animal, and it eats, these terms denote an animal as it says in Numbers 24, we and our cattle. I'm guessing that's just the outline of what falls under an animal. And then going down, it says, in another person's field, the vowelization with the Shiva under the sin denotes the construct state. Hence, it means the field of another rather than another field. So I guess it's someone else's field.
Yeah,
And
so
he should pay. Go ahead.
you have to, yeah, because what is happening is two things are happening. One is the law of gleaning that says that, you know, you have to allow people to come and take harvest. You can't fully harvest from your land. And two is, if your animal goes into somebody else's property and eats everything that you have planted, you cannot harvest that, and thereby you cannot sell that. You cannot sustain yourself. So that animal is responsible for keeping your family from being able to eat, your people, whomever you are planting this for. So in that case, the animal, being that it belongs to the other farmer or the herder, has to pay restitution to the field to the person who owns the field that the food was eaten from.
Yeah.
Why would
and mine
it
just
take me
says,
to? I'm sorry.
go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Casey. No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna ask Rabbi, why is it taking me to Numbers 20 verse 5, and it just says, "Why have you taken us out of Egypt to bring us to this evil place? It's not a place for seeds, or for fig trees, grapevine, or pomegranate trees, and there is no water to drink."
Okay, so the reason it references back to Numbers. It has nothing to do with the actual text. Has to do with Rashi. Now, in most Jewish thought, people read Rashi just to know what Rashi knows, or what Rashi has to say. He is beloved, but his commentary is we read it just because he's a sage that we admire, not necessarily that his commentary is word of he's the best commentary. You can right now, if you were to, I have commentary from Maimonides, I have commentary from from Oinkles. It depends on who you are as a Jew, who you lean into. But what he is saying is, because originally we were taken out of Egypt into a place where we could not grow anything. Now we are growing things. Why would you let your animal come and make it to where things can't grow?
That makes sense.
Okay. Anything else on that?
There get more into depth over what happens to plants than they do slaves. It is absolutely abhorrent. It is what it is, though. I mean, I can't defend the text and say that's not what it says. That's exactly what it says. Judaism does not teach that and has not taught that for eons and eons.
All right. Verse 6, when fire breaks out and catches in thorns so that the stacked grain or the standing grain or the field is consumed, the one who started the fire shall make full restitution. I don't have any issues with that because it is, it's just what happens.
Obviously, if you're an arsonist, you have to make up for it. If the fire started on its own because you're in the middle of a desert, then there's no that you can't ask for restitution because it was of natural cause.
Living in a fire-prone area, that law exists here in California too. So
and there, in order for you to seek restitution, you would have to be able to prove that someone actually set the fire to your grain, and in order for somebody to prove that someone set fire to their grain, they would have to have two separate witnesses who do not know each other and can both say they saw the event and corroborate it without having spoken to each other first.
All right. When someone delivers to a neighbor money or goods for safekeeping, and they are stolen from the neighbor's house, then the thief, if caught, shall pay double. If the thief is not caught, the owner of the house shall be brought before God to determine whether or not the owner had laid hands on the neighbor's goods. Let me see. I have a little footnote here. Or before the judges, it says here.
Sanhedrin, yeah.
The Sanhedrin.
Yeah.
And that's 7.
Well, okay, what book are you in?
I'm in Exodus.
Okay, so
22.
When they're saying the judges, if we go back earlier in the storyline, Moses is trying to the story of Moses is that he is trying to oversee 600,000 people. and that he was never sleeping. He wasn't getting anything done except sitting there listening to everybody. His father-in-law, Jethro comes to him and says, "You're never going to get any rest. So what you need to do is appoint one person who is in charge of every 10 people in the different tribes. And then each of them then go up higher. Then there's one judge who sees over the 100 people, and then one judge who sees over 1,000. So when they're saying you have to bring them before the judges, it's like a upward scale. First, you bring them before the one and says, hey, this happened. If he's like, I can't figure it out, we're going to go to the, upwards and upwards to the Supreme Court, kind of the idea of the Supreme Court, which would be at that point Aaron, the priesthood, and Moses.
Okay. And in my little thing, it says the commentary I have is, when property is lost or damaged while in another's care, liability depends on the degree of responsibility implicitly assumed by the bailee. The comments below list the 4 main cases, followed by comments on other matters. In the case of small movables deposited for safekeeping, since the bailee is expected simply to keep them in his house without taking precautions beyond those he takes with his own property, if they are stolen, he may clear himself with an oath that he did not misappropriate them. But if he was asked to keep cattle which roam in field, extra precautions are expected, and if they are stolen, he is held negligent and must pay for the loss. If, however, the loss was unpreventable, he may establish this by oath or by producing the carcass. If the bailee borrowed an animal for his own use, since all the benefit is his, he assumes liability for whatever causes its death or injury unless its owner was with it, presumably because the owner would then be expected to protect it. Okay, so we'll go read more about this bailee, okay? In any case of disputed ownership involving ox, donkey, sheep, clothing, or any other loss of which one party says, this is mine, the case of both parties shall come before God, and as we read before, or before the judges, to determine, the one whom God condemns shall pay double to the other. When someone delivers to another a donkey, ox, sheep, or any other animal for safekeeping, and it dies, or is injured, or is carried off without anyone seeing it, an oath before the Lord shall decide between the two of them that the one has not laid hands on the property of the other. The owner shall accept the oath, and no restitution shall be made. But if it was stolen, restitution shall be made to its owner. If it was mangled by beasts, let it be brought as evidence. Restitution shall not be made for the mangled remains. So, if it's on my property, something happens to it, a wild animal gets to it, I need to produce the carcass. If I say I didn't do it and I don't have a carcass, I didn't steal it, I didn't do anything with it, then my word is to be accepted. Am I taking that right?
Yeah, you have to make an oath, and that oath, if found later that you were lying, then there would be penalties for it. So if it came about that, you actually destroyed it yourself to try and get people to help you, or, like if you were to set fire to your house for the insurance kind of thing. But you say I didn't. At first, we're supposed to say, yes, okay, you've made your oath. Generally, that did have to do with the genital thing, like I mentioned to you guys before. But if it's found out that you were lying, then you have to, any money that was given you to rebuild has to be replaced, and then you have to double that.
When someone borrows an animal from another and it's injured or dies, the owner not being present, full restitution shall be made. If the owner was present, there shall be no restitution. If it was hired, only the hiring fee is due. So are there any questions or commentaries on these verses about what we do with these animals and so forth?
There are you mean commentaries outside the text, or do you mean within the text?
Either or.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is gone over in the Talmud in, is it the legal, Bava Bhava Batra, the tractate Bhava Batra, talks about the legal land and ownership of livestock, of property, of grain, of fields and farms.
You guys, somebody in the comments says my prompt is confusing. Like, I just need to know, like, how is that prompt confusing? Like, do you not
It could
understand
be more
basic
clear.
English? I really don't get it.
No one special. We are reading and studying the Bible, and most of us up here are non-believers in that book.
So, non-believers, Bible study. Yes, we are non-believers studying the Bible. No, some of us.
And I'm
So
just
what we're
here to be
doing,
the
what we're
token
doing
Jew.
now is going through the Bible without.
Rabbi.
I missed what you said.
Saying that about the pagan.
She said she's just here as a token Jew.
Oh my God.
Stop.
Oh,
I
Rabbi.
was about to say that about the pagan here.
Yes, I'm studying a book. I don't believe it. Have you
I
ever
was-
read a book that's just literature? Because
I
I
was
read
about-
lots of books.
I was about to say we're reading this again, but not presupposing it's true.
Right.
You guys remember this silly thing we used to do in high school? Is our English teachers would give us a book and we had to read it, and we had to critique it and study it. It's almost like we do that for other books too. It's just this wild concept.
It's weird.
It's like no one learned anything from break even. We pray to a God we don't even believe in. It's kind of like that.
Like it's just it's odd that you can't study things that pertain to our everyday lives because we live in a primarily Christian nation.
And technically,
I don't think
anyway,
anybody's
plenty of
attacking you,
atheists-
no one.
Plenty of
Calm
atheists
down.
read this book.
We're a bunch of sarcastic childhood trauma people that get our kicks out of cracking jokes about serious things. Sorry.
And all it takes is one stupid question.
I'm doing
Okay, let's move on. Social and religious laws.
Oh boy, about to get okay.
I am interested in it, no one special. That's why I'm studying it. I don't have to believe it to be interested in it. It has significance, doesn't it? I mean, literally, we have people trying to pass laws in my countries based on this antiquated bullshit. So, I am interested in it.
Also, I'm not interested in the God, but I'm going for
No.
my PhD in theology. I mean, it's not out of the realm of weirdness, like, or normality. I mean,
All right, verse 16. When a man seduces a virgin, why does mine say seduce? Who's not engaged to be
that was
married
mine.
and lies with her, he shall give the bride price for her and make her his wife. But if the father refuses to give her to him, he shall pay an amount equal to the bride price for virgins. Okay, I got it. I don't think that one is the great one anyway.
Wait, did I skip over where the part if she doesn't want to?
We haven't.
I guess it's not there.
No, there's no consent in the Bible.
Yeah,
There's
I
no
didn't know if I
consent
missed
there.
it.
No.
In the commentary from Rabbi Rashi, he says that it's seduction because it's persuasion,
coercion.
Okay, hang on a
pretty
second.
much. He speaks to her heart until she yields.
All right, hang on one second. I want to see something.
I think the Rambam disagrees with him. If I remember correctly, Maimonides says that it isn't that he speaks to her heart, but coerces her, and could be taken by he's coercing her by force.
Whoa.
And of course, oh yeah, it's absolutely not consent. Yeah, there's no consent.
Yeah, it's not consent either way.
Yeah,
Really.
no, there was no consent for women of the time anyway. The whole part, this idea of marriage that talks about biblical marriage was one man purchasing, and the only way I know how to say this is how it is, the sexual availability of a woman from her father.
It kind of goes hand in hand with what I was
And
saying with how women were viewed
performance.
as like dowries and just an object for
They,
the
yeah,
father
absolutely. They were
to
property.
gain.
No different than any other property.
I've got a curious question then. Apart from Jonathan and David, and who were the two women again?
Naomi and Ruth.
Naomi and Ruth. Thank you. Apart from them, was there any marriage in the Bible between two people who actually loved each other and showed that right
Yes.
through the time?
Yes, that would be Isaac and Rebecca, and Jacob and Leah, or Rachel. Yeah, I mean Jacob and Leah and Rachel are the more common one spoke about, because he was willing to work 7 years to marry her, and then when finding out it was the older sister, he said, "I'll work another 7 years for the wife that I want." So that one is portrayed as because out of love, not just out of like convenience, or I could find another woman to buy cheaper than 7 years of my labor, technically 14.
So we only have 4 examples.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like Abraham loved Sarah. It says that basically that Abraham loved Sarah, but of course he, just like any other marriage at that time, I say marriage loosely here, of course she was purchased from her father. Yeah, and love wasn't necessarily the motivation for marriage. Yeah, filial piety was, and the reproduction and keeping the line going, and the acquisition of land and treaties, and yeah.
Laban was never punished for his for him doing that.
Well, he was, but not
he?
immediately. So what ends up happening is Jacob says, "Yeah, I'm going to come to work for you," and he then strikes a deal saying, any of the sheep or goat that have speckles on it, I would like to keep it. And he's like, "Yeah, sure, because I only want the pure white ones. I only want the pure white ones." And so Jacob concocts a type of solution for the goats and the sheep to drink. And as they start going into their lambing season, they produce all of these speckled and non-pure white animals, which then are now Jacob's property. Yeah, basically robs him to his face.
Like, does Jacob mean something like trickster or deceiver or something like that?
No.
Okay.
It's heel sneak. So he was holding on to Esau's heel as Esau came out of the womb. Jacob was holding on to. Yeah, it was like heel sneak, heel thief. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You shall not permit a female sorcerer to live. I have a theory why this is put right here. Okay, I have a theory. If we just, because it just seems kind of crammed in here, because the next one is whoever lies with an animal shall be put to death. And before that, it was the seducing of a virgin. I think that is put right there because a man could just say, she's a witch, she lied, and then unalive her and be out and not have to pay the bride price.
I would love to say that's true, but not at that time, because the word sorcerer or sorceress there was, you had to prove that the woman was trying to enact something with the dead, necromancy.
How do we know that that's what that meant right there?
Based on the events in that time period, the only thing that was considered sorcery, because everything else was like profiting or divining, and that could be done. So sorcery was they're comparing it to other nations who would participate in rituals and things of that nature that involved the blood of the dead and trying to raise the dead, or like trying to use the spirits of the dead to do something. So sorceress in this way means someone who is trying to perform necromancy.
In chat, they're saying there was rigorous investigations. Is there any proof to that? Because we can say there was rigorous investigations, but it was a woman.
He's talking about the way the Talmud addresses it.
Okay.
I'm wondering if when I'm reading about like how religions I don't know, evolve or dissolve, I don't know, I guess pull together. Like they end up like outlawing shamanism, like forbidden practices that do not go with the priest or with. Do you think that's going on here? Like there may be
Well,
some practices that people practice like off away from the temple or away from the priesthood that they're trying to outlaw.
so in the culture we're talking about, throwing the bones. I mean, it's spoken of in Psalms later on. To throw the bones was a type of divination. There were like incenses and things that would bring forth people who were trying to divine things. So that was not divination, or that kind of thing was not over looked badly on. It's only the things that like literally involved blood, like enacting blood or death. And on that note, I have to run because I have some vacuuming to do.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi. You guys
Of
make
course.
sure you're following Rabbi Hannah, that Rebel Rabbi, and also make sure that you do W Rabbi in the chat for me, or W Hannah. She's amazing, and I really appreciate her being here and helping us learn, some of these things from the Old Testament. She is a doctor. She's a theologian. She's a rabbi, and so she knows what the fuck she's talking about. So I like it when she comes up.
Can I say, Crystal, I am so glad that really mainly through you and Nick, I have met like Jewish rabbis, and I feel like the only way I was looking at it was the lens of like former Christian, and I
Yeah.
lost total like perspective of this is a cultural, thing. This is their thing, and so like it has given me a heart to where I don't want to shit on it. You know what I mean? As
Oh
much.
yeah, I get that. I think that one thing that okay, so I kind of get this from Earth Sanctuary. If you guys don't know her, she's amazing too, Garnet. Anyway, one thing that I like is how she points out that this is a tribe, not very much different than indigenous people to North America are tribes, like the Cherokees or whoever, and this was a tribe just like that. These stories are about that tribe. Are things barbaric within this, system? Absolutely. But this was written for them. This was written by them for them. It wasn't supposed to be for us to try to do for all eternity. It was never meant for that. We just did that with it. We just did that with it. We appropriated it. The Muslims appropriated it, and we try to insert ourselves into this tribe and their ancient beliefs. And when I look at it that way, it makes me really understand that what I'm reading about is fan fiction from a tribe that lived a long time ago, that they were writing it for their own people to kind of empower their people, to make their people feel bigger and stronger and more important than they actually were at the time. Because, we know that Yahweh was actually a very small God in the pantheon. They wanted him to be bigger. You know what I mean? So they kind of are elaborating on a lot of this. Okay, let's see. Whoever sacrifices to any god other than the Lord alone shall be devoted to destruction. A lot of times Christians like to point out how violent the Quran is by saying that, you should unalive infidels, but I think they forget about that verse right there. I think they forget. But it says it in their book too.
But you know what's funny about the Quran in difference to the Bible is that it says that they'll give, in the Quran, it says that they will give people a chance to repent and turn their ways because Allah is most merciful, whereas the Bible is like, no, straight up unalive them. That's an interesting...
Yeah, that's true.
That's an interesting...
That's true. That's a good thing to
Yeah,
remember.
that is wow. That's insane. Like,
Yeah, that's why when a lot of Christians say the Quran's worse, I'm like, actually no, because for a good chunk of time I was doing a comparative between the two, and anything that was found in the Quran, I could either equally match it in the Bible or make it worse in the Bible.
Wow.
Yeah, it was actually really
That
well
would
done.
be a really good live topic, you know?
Yeah, it
Let's
would be.
compare the Bible to the Quran, you know?
But
Okay.
it's a consistent theme throughout the Quran. Well, if they repent, if they stop, if they relent, leave them alone because Allah is merciful, and in the end we want peace. Whereas the Bible's like, unalive everybody. Like,
Yeah, we should, huh, Chai Chai? We should do that type of live. That would be a really good one. Any commentary, questions, or anything on 16 through 20? All right.
No,
You
but
shall. Oh, go ahead.
I am going to remind everyone to tap the damn screen because we're not even at 50K yet. There are enough people in here. The last goal was, 20, was it 30K? So we've only done barely 3K taps since then. I know we're busy doing other things, but, you know, if every 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so you come and give a handful of taps, we wouldn't have to continue to do all this. So let's try to get to that 50K. What do you think, Crystal, by the end of the next half hour?
Yes. I don't even know if we'll be live for the next half hour. So just get me to 50K before I end the live, okay? I'm probably not going to go on to another chapter today because I have a live in a little bit with Golf. So I want to make sure get some housework and shit done before I start the next live. Try to be
you
a
want to
little
have a
domesticated.
live? No, you can't have a live outside of TikTok. What are you talking about?
So I gotta try to pretend that I do have a life outside of TikTok, because otherwise you guys will think this is all I have.
You can pretend, but you're not fooling anybody.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all. Keep tapping that screen, sharing, gifting. You know all the good things. Appreciate you.
And don't forget, I'm trying to get to 100 subbies. So if you've already subscribed, don't forget you can gift out subbies. Okay, ready? You shall not wrong or oppress a resident alien, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. You shall not abuse any widow or orphan. If you do abuse them, when they cry out to me, I will surely heed their cry. My wrath will burn, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall become widows, and your children orphans. God's going to kill somebody with a sword?
Well, damn.
I mean,
brutal.
Like, is he going to come down and do it in person, or is he going to get one of his henchmen?
In this specific case,
Not
he might do
clear.
it. I mean,
He might do himself.
you can't be lazy all the time. Sometimes you gotta.
He seems like he can. I haven't seen him really do anything without a human intervention.
I mean, he says he's
Okay.
going to do a lot of stuff, but
I know. If you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, you shall not deal with them as a creditor. You shall not exact interest from them. If you take your neighbor's cloak in pawn, you shall restore it before the sun goes down. For it may be your neighbor's only clothing to use as cover. In what else shall that person sleep? And if your neighbor cries out to me, I will listen, for I am compassionate. What the hell you are? You're the least compassionate God, I swear. Okay, any
How can you
commentary,
throw
questions?
compassionate right there? That's crazy. I mean, after all this shit we just read, for I am compassionate. Oh, you're
And
not.
Christians just love to say, but God is merciful and just and compassionate. He's none of those things. What the fuck are you talking about?
he is
Yeah.
like sometimes about certain things, though, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like hypocrisy. Yeah, that's no.
So let me let everybody hate on me for a second. I think if we compare this to America, they've got us beat. Just this part. I'm saying if we just like cherry pick just this little section. Like, can you imagine if like you have to go pawn something to pay a debt off, or a bill, and they're like, no, never mind, it's against the law. We can't charge you interest. We have to return you this thing that you pawned within, a day. I feel like that is really good. You know what I mean? So like, I want to give them credit when credit's due, and showing them whenever it's possible. But
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they got us beat on that part.
And I feel
Yeah.
like the verse in front of it, or before it was mine says you shall not taunt or oppress a stranger, but yours said a resident alien. If we could just adopt that part right there, we'll be good too.
Yeah, imagine that. Black sheep for whoever you are. IA stands for intersex and asexual. Okay.
Have you guys ever seen the movie 300?
Yeah, I've
heard.
seen the movie 300.
Okay, do you remember when Xerxes was talking to the hunchback and he was saying that, Leonidas demands that you stand where all I ask is that you kneel, and then he goes, for I am kind? That's what God of the Bible reminds me of. It's like, that's... Adonai is Xerxes, okay? You can't change my mind.
So true.
Yeah, it's just the way he says all this shit and does all this shit, and then he goes, oh, but I'm kind. I love you. I care for you. Like, Xerxes, is that you?
It's like an abusive relationship.
That sounds like a knock.
Yeah, I'm gonna beat
Yeah,
you.
that
Oh, I
is
love you.
absolutely an abusive relationship, whether that's an abusive father, an abusive mom, an abusive boyfriend.
Yeah, it's like
But I love you.
Yeah, it's like you got hurt by your boyfriend or husband, and then he's like, listen, look what you made me do. I love you. I've never done that to you. That sounds crazy. That sounds like batshit crazy.
All you have to do is love me back. That's all.
That's it. That's what you gotta do.
Okay.
Do they put this in schools? Something's wrong with these people.
I wish Christians would read this verse or these verses a little bit more, because like there are Christians, by the way, there's an entire group of Christians who do believe that the credit system in the United States is demonic and that we should not have to pay interest or anything like that. They believe that is completely against the Bible, and I wish more of them believed that. But also the abuse of widows and orphans, like they just don't read that enough, because abuse of widows and orphans is when you kick them out because they can't pay rent. It's when you judge them because they're on SNAP. Okay? It's when your churches who take tithes and offerings don't even ask if any widows or orphans in the church need help or assistance, and do nothing to help the very members who are in their churches. They don't. The compassion for Christians and the empathy for Christians is just not there. I do not see it anymore. It's disturbing, and they don't even use the places in their book that tell you to have compassion. They don't even use those.
Well, remember, if you are struggling financially, you should pay more tithes to be able to help.
I know. Every time I hear a Christian say, my church does, I want you to show me the books. Prove that shit to me. Because every church pretends that they give, but they don't. They don't
hear
give
that from
compared to what
everybody.
they take. Yeah. I really want to see the books. Remember what happened to me when I asked to see the books? Because they told me, if any of you members want to see the books, we'll show you the books. And then I said, oh, okay, I would like to see the books. And they were like, what do you mean you want to see the books? Like they were just, and I never got to see the books.
You failed the test.
Bye, Spicy. Thank you for coming up, and thanks for being here. Yeah, I guess, right? Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. You shall not revile God or curse a leader of your people. If you can't tell that was written by a man, I don't know. I don't know how to make you see things straight. What God would say that you could not question a leader of a church? You know what I'm
100%.
saying?
Agree, yeah. Well, don't curse God. Hey, don't curse me either.
And pastors use that verse to tell people, how dare you question me?
Oh,
How
yeah,
dare
all
you
the time.
question me? I'm going to lock you in until I get $40,000. Did you guys see that, Pastor?
What is that verse? The anointed verse. Like, you shouldn't question the anointed. What is that? There's a
This
verse.
might be. Is there another one that says it too?
Yeah, it's something like, I have a long time I've read the Bible. Something about you should not question or the like what God anoints.
Oh, let me see if I can look that one up. Okay.
It's like when you have a question about the Bible and it's not making sense or it's not reasonable, and it's like they have this thing. They're like, you should not question what God, the anointed by God. It's like a reference to that. Am I wrong? I remember.
I think you're right. I'm gonna look it up.
So this is in Chronicles 16:22, First Chronicles, and this is like, if I remember right, this is about David. Whenever he had the chance to get rid of Saul, whenever King Saul was in the cave or whatever, sleeping, and it was like, I'm not going to touch the Lord's anointed. Also, it says it's in
First
Psalms
Chronicles
105.
16:22. Yeah, I got those two also. Do not touch the anointed. Yep. Do not touch my anointed ones, and do not harm my prophets. And then Psalms 105:15. Do not touch my anointed ones, and do my prophets no harm.
Yes, that's what it was. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. You shall not delay to make offerings from the fullness of your harvest and from the outflow of your presses. The firstborn. Now, I will tell you, there's something different about the way they did this back then than the way the church nowadays takes tithes and offerings. The offerings were put in a storehouse and were given to the poor, the widows, and the orphans. That is why you had to make an offering, was to feed people. Nowadays, that money just goes right into the clergy's pocket and whatever the church elders deem fit, like their new microphones or their new lighting equipment.
Or jets.
It also wasn't financial.
Yeah.
So
their mansion.
Yeah, jets.
Yeah,
their
there's
mansions.
no money anywhere.
Their Louis Vuitton. Their, Pierre
Those are
Cardin.
necessities, guys. They're necessities.
I mean, for me, it's best for me, and someone could disagree, but I understand it ties as a state tax. Like, this is a state regulated tax that you have to give. It's not necessarily financial, but it's like food. And it's like to help make sure that they don't have a famine or make sure that there's not an infanticide. You know what I mean? Like, this is a state regulated thing to make sure that the public is healthy. And so, like, whenever we see all these Christians saying they don't want to pay their taxes, well, their tithes is actually taxes. Like, they're commanded by God to pay their taxes.
Do we think we should tax the church?
Yes, but
Yes.
there is some difficulty in doing so. We have to do it the right way, because once you tax a church, they now you can't have taxation without representation. So we would have to have representation, which could lead to more Christian nationalism, etc. So we have to find a way to do it where they're taxed basically, but they don't get a voice.
Well, no, because if you think
But I
about it,
feel
you
like they
have to
did.
create.
Yeah, I feel like they're into politics. They're being represented, and they're not paying taxes.
Oh, they already are represented, and yet they don't
they
pay
are.
taxes.
Yeah,
So
they
yeah,
have to
if they're gonna be
ensure.
represented, they might as well pay taxes. They might as
That's
well.
right. That's true.
I think, here's the thing. They would have to establish their own political party, which means they would have to get votes, right? And I don't think the Republicans or the Democrats either would let them do that. But on top of that, I honestly, yes, I believe in taxing the churches. However, I think it would be dependent on, like, if we're talking about a small parish out in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, that has maybe a congregation of 20 people, let them be, because they're literally just paying to keep the doors open at that point. But when we're talking in terms of the bigger churches, not even the mega churches yet, but even the bigger churches plus the mega churches, tax the shit out of them because they're making fortune.
I do. That's a really good point, because here's the problem I have with us, like with anti-theism, with wanting, like, people who do want all churches to close and shit like that. The problem I have with that, and I've talked about it with Barr and Volsi and stuff, is that a lot of churches for lower income neighborhoods, which often are going to be your minority areas, are literally the everything for that neighborhood. Okay, that's the latchkey program, is kids go to that church when school's over until mom and dad can pick them up. It's their playground. A lot of times the church will have like some basketball courts or a playground for them to go to. It's their place where their parents tell them to go for safety sometimes. And so when, like, if you were to tax those, that could shutter them, and then we are only harming those neighborhoods, if that makes sense. So exactly. I like what you're saying, Nick. I really do. I think that we could do what we do to small businesses. If you make over X amount of money per year, you're going to pay some goddamn taxes around here, okay?
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. Actually, I like that idea better.
It's $30,000 a year here for small businesses, and
it's like 100,000 here, I think.
Sorry, businesses, period. You have to make over 30K, and then you got to start paying into GST, this, that, and the other. But I think these small-time churches, the ones that are more outreach than church, because they have to be, because of the places that they're in, or they're in farm country, so it's just the farmers, place where the farmers go. Tax them less or not at all. But these bigger size evangel churches, and then of course the mega churches, either tax the shit out of them or start putting on a cap on it, on what they're allowed to make, and force them to donate the rest. Like, it's ridiculous. Pastors should not be driving, $100,000 vehicles, nor should they be owning jets. It's enough is enough.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
If you make $600 or more on TikTok, you better be making sure you're paying your taxes.
Yep. But you got a private jet, don't have to pay it.
It's fine. That's fine.
It's fine.
Okay, the firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. You shall do the same with your oxen and with your sheep. 7 days it shall remain with its mother. On the 8th day you shall give it to me. You shall be people consecrated to me. Therefore you shall not eat any meat that is mangled by beasts in the field. You shall throw it to the dogs. So, what are we doing with our children? I thought only evil people did. I thought that's why we had G-side in the Bible, because those evil people were sacrificing their children to their God.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not wrong.
And here we are, Yahweh saying, your firstborn are mine.
Well, is he not God?
And that's what I really hate about the Bible. It's the idea I can do it, but you can't.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, what you guys are doing, it's evil, and I'm going to destroy you, but I can do it. Or I can assign my people to do it, and that's just fine because I said so.
Well, as Joel says, his ways are higher. I won't sing it.
His ways are higher.
Hawk asked a question. Why do people crave power and money? Where did that instinct come from? I think it started. There's always been a power dynamic between people. You know, like since caveman days, they were beating up on each other for caves or for women or turf, whatever. But when it financially, it would have been whenever humanity started using precious metals for trade, and that I don't have a date on. But then that rose to power, leaders, kings, so on and so forth, and then it just spiraled from there into corporations that we have today, you know. But it would have been whenever the trade of precious metals started.
Okay, you guys, as we wrap this up today, let's tap that screen, try to get me to 50,000 likes. If you have the coin, I only need 4 more of the little flower crowns. Also, I'm trying to get to 100 subbies today. If you haven't subscribed, it's less than a cup of coffee a month. You're subscribed to Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Plus, the Disney Channel, NFL Premium Channel, and you don't watch any of them. You're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. So why don't you cancel some of those subscriptions, save yourself some money, and then come over here and subscribe to people like myself, like DC, like JD, like Nick. Cash, you go live too, right?
Off and on.
Off and on. Liz, you don't go live yet, but you would love it if they subscribe to Nick. Chai, do you go live yet?
I don't, but I do want to start going live.
Okay. So when Chai starts going live, subscribe to people like us, because it's like supporting a small business. Instead of supporting the large entertainment conglomerates, cancel those subscriptions and subscribe to us. We bring you quality content. I have Decon Q&A with CrystalJae today in just about 2 hours, okay, with Dugald. And I also have Thinker on Friday. DC, I can't remember what day we're meeting because I don't have my actually, I can tell you who all I have coming up, because I have it on a calendar on the Discord. Haha, I'll tell you who and when. Okay, we have Dugald today, okay, at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Thinker on Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Remember, this is when you guys get to come up and ask them the questions. And then we have DC on May the 6th at 9 a.m. I have Fluff on May the 13th. I can't remember for sure what time right now because she just booked today. And then I've got a couple more people that are booking with me right now too. So I bring you quality content. If you've already subscribed, you can always gift out subscriptions to people in the chat. They love it. If you are a subscriber, drop some stickers in the chat. Show everybody what we got going. And don't forget, I'm going to have a fun subscriber live coming up where you guys get to play Divine or Decline, but I have to answer the questions. So you get to come up with the questions, and I have to decide if it's Divine or Decline. Also, I have a couple of other fun sub-only lives coming up and sub-only videos that I'll be putting out. And if you already subscribe, DM me so I can send you a link to the Discord. See, look how cute my stickers are. Look at my little Celeste. She's got the cutest little baby face. DC, when are you going live again?
I'll probably be going live again tomorrow morning. And so, and then we're going to probably, Hippie's going to be taking a break, but if he decides to come back tomorrow, well, then we'll be doing a Hippie or DC raid for Hippie. But also, I am starting I'm getting together a 3-week program for June, and it is about blessing yourself because there's no God to do it for you. And so it's a 3-week program talking about blessing yourself, blessing your others, blessing a community. And it's 15 emails. And so that's how it's sent. And so, yeah. So if you want to be a part of that, send me a DM and I'll give you the link in Discord or something so you can sign up.
I really like that. That's really cool. JD, when are you going live again?
I was planning to go live as soon as this ended, but I just had something come up. So maybe in like an hour or so, If that doesn't happen tomorrow, I'll do my lunchtime live at about 1 Central.
All
Should be
right.
doing
Sounds
that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then sometime on Sunday I'll go live again.
Sounds good. Nick, what about you?
Liz and I are gonna try for a late night live tonight to see what happens.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, we've noticed that people get a lot of the crazies late night, and I just kind of want the chaos. So we're gonna see what a late night will bring, if anything. So yeah, we'll see what happens tonight.
I know we don't do it anymore, y'all, but pray for me, please.
Hannah says diviner decline is better than Cards Against Humanity. Thank you, Hannah. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. I know people like to hate on it, but that's just because they don't really know the Bible. That's all I'm just trying to say.
We really love it. I'm not gonna lie.
I cannot wait for you to play this game.
I can't either.
I can't freaking wait.
Okay, Cash, will you be going live anytime soon?
I may consider doing it in 1 to 2 hours, probably.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah,
And- Go ahead.
Sorry. So, as I was saying, the type of lives that I would do I'm thinking that maybe in a couple hours I'll actually do a reading of the Wanderer's Havamal for the first time.
Oh, okay. Very cool. And
Just
Chai, what I want to tell you. Okay, very cool. Chai, when you do go live for the first time, like if you plan it out and you tell all of us, we will all try to be there, give you a lot of support and stuff, okay? And if you want, like you could bring one of us up and that way you don't feel lonely sitting up there, because it's kind of scary at first, and having somebody on stage with you helps.
So scary. Not even at first. It's scary for a long
I'm
time.
kind of scared. That's why I've been very hesitant on going live. I mean, thank you so much. I really appreciate you reaching out for that support, and I'm going to take you up on that.
Good. Do it. We will support you. We'll show up, and we'll share, and we'll get your likes up. We'll do all the good things for you. Okay, you guys. Well, I'm gonna eat some lunch and get ready for Dugald, and I hope that if you aren't going live, if you're not busy, in an hour and 40 minutes, I'm going to be right back here with Decon Q&A with CrystalJae and my special guest, Dugald. And of course, we will be playing everybody's favorite game, Divine or Decline. So come back, join me, and I will see you guys around the mean streets of TikTok. Goodbye, YouTube. Goodbye, TikTok. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Everybody, thanks for having me.